My name is Morgan Davison and I play the bassoon. I'm super excited to share with you in this video some helpful practice tips for you and your friends to help you guys practice over the summer. The first point that I would like to make is that there's a huge difference between practicing your instrument and playing your instrument. Playing your instrument is just like playing a sport. You go through the motions. In sports, you walk on the field, take the ball, run, shoot, and hopefully score. When you play your instrument, it's the same thing. You walk on stage, play through the first movement, second movement, third movement, bow, and leave. The main similarity between these two is that there are no redos. There's no going back. So the goal is to make yourself play comfortably so that there are no mistakes or you fumble the ball. When you practice, there's a certain level of critical thinking that you have to learn how to control. There's practice in sports as well. You have to know the strengths of your team and you have to be flexible to your competition. While you're practicing your instrument, there's no team, but there is competition. It's only you. And because you're your only competition, you have to learn how to challenge yourself and you have to learn how to be flexible in your practice sessions in order to open all of the doors available to you to make your practice the most functional and effective. Now, of course, the goal in your practice session is to be critical without being your own worst critic. For me, that means making things fun. So I'm going to share some tips to help make your practice sessions more fun. The first one is to put the fun back in fundamentals. I'll always start out with fundamentals, which means scales and long tones. But to me, scales are a little boring. So I like to spice them up by adding intervals. For example, instead of playing an F major scale one octave like this, boring, I'll add thirds and fourths. And then I'll go on to fifths, sixths, and sevenths, but I'll save you the time now. For long tones, I like to use an app called Tonal Energy, which gives little green smiley faces every time a note is in tune. So when I'm playing long tones, this is where I challenge myself. And I'll try to give myself green smiley faces for every single note on my instrument. Now it's on to excerpts or solo pieces, take your pick. This is where the real fun begins. I'll come up with different games to give myself to make practice more fun. This includes transposing an excerpt. So instead of playing this excerpt in the original key of B flat, I'll transpose it to C major. This not only helps with scales, but it makes things easier when you return to the original key. The best game is when I give myself little rewards, like snacks that I can eat during the break, of course. For example, if I can get through this drill perfectly 5 times, I'll give myself a coconut cashew at the end. Then, if I do that 10 times, I'll have played the excerpt 50 times. But the best part is that I have 10 coconut cashews to eat during my break. The biggest thing that I do is to record myself, either video or audio. I'll take my phone, set it up just like I have it now, and play away. Recording yourself gives you a new perspective and it puts you in the audience's seat. You can hear stuff that you never thought was there before. For example, some funky notes that need work with intonation, or new phrasing that you didn't hear before. You can take notes on what you liked or what you'd like to work on. This will keep a log of your practice journey. Or you can start an Instagram account like I did. The last tip that I have is to take breaks. As humans, we're not wired to work on something consecutively for more than about 2.5 hours. So I suggest taking breaks to break up your practice sessions. This will help you maintain the highest level of focus, and it will also help you find motivation and inspiration in things outside of your own practice room, like YouTube, listening to the radio, or just talking with friends. One of the problems that I constantly run into is not actually having enough time to sit down with my instrument and practice. So I'll utilize what's called mental practice. For example, one of the techniques of mental practice is called silent fingering. This just means to finger the notes along with whatever piece that you're playing and really implement the muscle memory of the fingers. This will help you understand better and be more comfortable in whatever you're trying to learn once you put the instrument back in your hands. Another mental practice technique is simply listening to a great recording of the piece that you're trying to learn. This will help you understand the piece to the fullest, and it can also give you motivation and inspiration to hear someone play it differently. The best mental practice technique that I utilize is score study. I like to use a complete score, and I'll put it on my iPad, or you can use a real-life score. The reason why I like to use an iPad is because I can mark it up and color-code it without damaging the actual score. Score study entails anything that you want to know or can learn about the piece. This includes history, instrumentation, dynamics, tempo changes, etc. Of course, you can pick up on this just by listening to the piece, but score study helps to actually physically see it in front of you. I like to highlight my part so that I can follow along with the recording, and then I'll color code different things that I'd like to pay attention to, such as duets or people that I'm supposed to be playing with, instruments that I'll be playing with, or tempo changes, and sometimes dynamic markings too that I'd like to pay attention to. Score study lends an even deeper view into the piece that you're trying to learn, so that you can understand not only your part, but the parts around you as well. This will lead to great ensemble skills as well. I hope you use these tips that I've given you, and I sure hope that your practice sessions are more fun after this. Thanks for watching, and have a great summer.